Hi, Julia. Thanks for joining me today. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. All good over here. Good evening from the UK because it's afternoon over there in New York. How is the afternoon? How is it good?
So far, so good. We have beautiful weather, and 4th of July was yesterday, so we had a
Yeah.
nice long weekend.
Celebrations. Yeah. How did it go?
It was really nice. We got the beach in. I had some cousins come with their new baby, so lots
Amazing.
of kids, which was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. We've been working together for kind of 3.5 months now, and I just to start with, I kind of just like to hand it over to you to kind of for everybody to know who you are and what you do, really.
Sure, sure. Um, so my name is Julia. I am in my 30s. I live in New York City. I work for a luxury media company in New York City, and I do marketing and events, very heavy on the event side. And yeah, I'm really into health and wellness, fitness, and surfing, and there's just a lot going on at all times.
Yeah, a lot going on. All good stuff by the sounds of it as well.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of stuff, but very busy.
great. Okay, well, I'll get straight into the questions. The first question was if we go back 3.5 months before we started working together, what was the biggest challenge or frustration that you faced around alcohol?
I would say ambivalence was always my biggest question because I had looked into changing my relationship with alcohol. I would say it started about 2 years ago, so or 3 years ago. So it's been a process, and I've taken lengthy periods off, but there was always that ambivalence of going back and kind of not understanding why I continue to want to do something that went against my, like I said, I'm into health and wellness and fitness. Like why would I continue to um partake in something that I was finding negatively impacting versus, the negatives were outweighing the positives. So that was probably the biggest obstacle coming into it
Hmm.
and trying to understand why. Because when you're going against kind of things that you think you value, it's kind of like, all right, well, do I value them? And you go into that process. And
Hmm.
that was definitely the biggest challenge, I would say, that kind of brought us together.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for sharing that. And what was it that you made you decide to work with me and invest in these sessions?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is, and everyone goes through their own process to get to a point where maybe they want to have some sort of like accountability and um, coaching one-on-one, because obviously there's various ways to tackle issues or things that you want to work on. But for me in particular, by the time I got to looking into it and finding you, I had been realizing I had done different ways of doing it myself, doing it with different types of support. But the accountability just wasn't there. But also I wanted to delve deeper into um the more psychological reasons and emotional reasons and things to learn about myself. So there was a really big learning piece that I wanted. And when I came across you, I think it was through Andy Ramage because there was a connection there with your positive psychology and all of that. Um, for me, it resonated to not only, speak to someone who had knowledge in this space in particular, because I've been in therapy my whole life, so, but not everyone has that expertise. So it made sense to me to find someone who did and then deliver on that accountability and also help me, I would say transform a bit because we always talk about willpower and that's a finite resource. And I know that. And I've always known that. So I was looking to figure out myself a little bit more and understand myself a little bit more while understanding how the alcohol played into it. And that's probably why I decided to find someone like you.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for sharing that. And what were your initial thoughts and feelings during the first few sessions of working together?
To be honest, I was really excited. I immediately, I think the first time I talked to you, I felt very good. I felt like, you can go into these things and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a waste. Like the second you like go into any sort of coaching or whatever it is. I don't know, the first time I talked to you, I just felt I was in the right place with the right person. Um, so I felt good, to be honest. Obviously, there's a little trepidation you don't know because it's all a journey and you don't know how you're going to feel. And you're like, am I going to be able to do this? And again, it depends on what your goals are. Mine was to do 100 days alcohol free and to really, really hit the 100-day mark. And so you don't know, so you're a little nervous, but I think that your personality and your approach to explaining things was very thoughtful and very eloquent. So everything made a lot of sense from the beginning to be able to kind of trust in the process from the very start, which can be hard because trusting is a huge part of this kind of process.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for that. What
Yeah.
specific breakthroughs or results have you experienced since you started the sessions?
I think there's been some new things, but also some solidifying of old thoughts that I had had, but doing it with you has made them clearer. I think for myself, a lot of it became more crystal clear in terms of my values and aligning my behaviors with my values.
Mm,
And your accountability was super helpful in making that happen. And really delving into really truly what do I value? What do I want out of life? And recognizing that, the way in the past that I had been using alcohol did not serve me anymore, just where I am in life now. And coming to those terms is really helpful to finally like really make that solidified and clarity in your brain. I do think there were some helpful things along the way. The idea of like I always talked about stacking and experience. For me personally, I really felt stacking the experiences without alcohol was what gave me the confidence and clarity and continued progression to continue to want to not have alcohol. And also it it made me realize a lot when you go through the same experiences without alcohol that you did with alcohol. You learn a lot about yourself and also that crazily enough, we always talked about this. My biggest thing is the fear of not having adventure
mm,
because that's my sticking point with why I always enjoyed my nights and um times socializing with alcohol was that I felt there was more of a sense of adventure, but
mm.
it's kind of false. It's not the alcohol. It's really the people that you're with and the actual experience and that you can get there without alcohol. Like you can get to a place where that sense of adventure, especially when you need a lot of stimulus, because I get
Mm,
bored really quickly,
mm.
um, that sense of adventure can still be there. And it took time, but that was a big revelation for me personally. That was, I think, holding me back from making my behaviors surrounding alcohol match my values because I thought I really needed it for that sense. But there was something in the back of my head that knew that wasn't true. But like until you do it, you kind of just keep doing the old habits. So being able to get through all those days and find that I could find that sense of adventure even not drinking was a big one for me.
Yeah, and I remember we talking about this stacking, and it's really so true, isn't it? The more we stack these experiences, the more experiences we've lived, so the easier it becomes to move forward. Yeah, I remember going through that. It was really, really nice to see.
Yeah. And also just being out with other people, there is a big shift in the world. I have come across so many people who are doing the same thing for various reasons,
Mm,
for various reasons choosing to socialize without having alcohol. And it's been really interesting. In the beginning, you may not see it, but over time, when you become comfortable, it's so easy. It becomes second nature. There's no fight to it. It just is an easement. And it's really cool to see that there's just way more acceptance. People were taking shots when I was at a music festival the other weekend. And I was like, no, thank you. And they were like, here, have a shot of Celsius, which is like an energy drink. And just that they didn't care. They were like, here, we're going to still be inclusive. You can take a shot of water. We don't care. Just
Love
just
it.
join in on the fun. It was very refreshing. So that's another one.
Amazing, amazing. And how have the sessions impacted your personal and professional life and overall well-being?
Well, I mean, not drinking generally makes everything feel better. So there was an instant, I would say, effect on personal life and work life. I think that again, it's every person is different and every person's relationship with alcohol is different. So it affects them all differently. But for me, I'm very sluggish when I would drink. I'm older now, so hangovers, you name it. There's much more a sense of clarity. There's much on a daily basis. Energy is better, workouts are more effective, all the things. And those seep into every area of your life. And I also do think that even though life doesn't disappear and there are struggles and we're all going to go through struggles and you're going to feel all the range of emotions. I do think that when it comes to tough work situations, which you know about, or things that take up a lot of your energy, that you need to be able to maneuver and in different ways, not having alcohol, consistently not having it, your baseline is much calmer.
Mm,
So things that have come into my life from a professional standpoint, even personally, I'm able to handle with more easement than I would, and more clarity too, than I would have if, my body was in fight or flight, or my body was, recovering from a weekend with who knows. So just that consistency from a health standpoint actually translates into your emotions and how you deal personally and at work. So 100%
yeah,
baseline has elevated itself in a
yeah,
good way.
yeah. I'm really feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was there a moment during our working together that everything really clicked for you?
One specific moment. That's a really good question. I don't know if there was one specific moment, but I do feel that after halfway through, and probably this is a statistic for a lot of people, like I don't know what the timeline looks like for most people when things click. Oh, it's my calendar, sorry. Um, I I would say having had stacked moments um in my life where I was doing things that I would normally do with alcohol really shifted. You remember when I was talking about, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I hit 100 days. Am I gonna like,
Mm,
I don't know, like I was worrying about, am I gonna want to drink more? Am I, what am I going to do after like my goal is achieved? And again, we talk about this. I don't want to put any definites on anything because, we just have to live day by day. But I've had the 100 days, and I would say like 2 or 3 weeks before that, after I had a few stacked weeks of not drinking in certain situations, was when I was really like, oh, actually, I don't really think I'm gonna drink. I mean, my birthday was 3 days ago, 2 days ago. I didn't drink. I like it became just something I was going to keep doing versus, oh, I'm doing this for 100 days. Am I going to do it 30 more days? No, it just became part of my lifestyle instead of like a project necessarily. So I don't know if there was one moment, but I would say like 2 or 3 weeks ago was when that shift in my mind about what I was going to do afterwards happened.
mm,
Again, day by day. So we'll see, but it's very clear to me the importance of continuing to um, keep my relationship with alcohol more in line with how it is now.
yeah. Thanks, Julian. I think I remember that period, and yes, it probably wasn't one moment, but it was maybe a few sessions where there was definitely a change in kind of actually, I'm really proud to be this alcohol free on this alcohol free journey, and and yeah, your pull seemed to be away from it rather than towards it. Yeah, it was really nice to
Yeah, the
see.
pull
Yeah,
definitely is more away than
yeah,
towards. Everything can be on a spectrum, and I actually like the way that you said that. It's like the
mm,
pull is more away than
mm,
towards, and that's a better place for me to be in, I think, and a really good result of having done this work with you.
yeah, great, great. And the final question is, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about working with me to start their alcohol-free journey?
I mean, I would just say do it. So it's not really hard for me to answer that question. I would just say do it. But again, I'm very aware everyone's situation is different. But if you are looking for someone who does what you do, who is authentic, has your best interests in mind, is a great person to be accountable to help you learn more about yourself, and make changes, like actual changes, not just discuss them, but actually physically change behaviors. I mean, you're the guy. So I can't speak highly enough. I've told my parents about you. I've told like everyone about you. So if that is really what you are looking for, it's worth everything. And I think you are fair. I think that it's worth every cent if you want to talk about money, but I do still think you are totally fair in that regards and, you know, are amazing at what you do. So
Oh,
I don't know. I think everyone should work with you. But
thanks, Julia. That's lovely too. I really appreciate that. And yeah,
yeah,
I really
it's true.
appreciate that. Thanks.
Totally.
Awesome. Yeah, that kind of brings it to the end. And I guess my intention is just to really help other people that are in that situation that kind of want to remove alcohol from their life and from their lives and see what it's like on either side. So I really
Mhm.
appreciate you spending this time with me. I know you're going to go on holiday tomorrow and it's quite busy for you over there. So thanks
No,
again. And
no, I'm happy to. I'm so happy to. I just hope it helps someone else, That's all that matters. So I really appreciate all the work we've done together very much. So now I'm going into my vacation
amazing,
in a good
amazing.
place because of it.
Awesome, awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks so
Mhm.
much. Thank you.